Spyro, Enter the DragonFly. No thanks. So after Insomniac Games left the franchise behind for Ratchet & Clank, we've now got Check 6 and Equinox teaming up to push this one out on the GameCube and PS2. As for the Xbox... And after they made Enter the DragonFly, the reviews were so great, they closed down forever. Before anything else, I want to direct you to the demo screen of this game after you leave the start menu running a while, and you are going to watch it with me in its entirety. Ooh, these are nice flowers. Who am I gonna pick for this save game then? Ooh. So the game begins and we get our first cutscene. Wow! Yeah, this looks good. Nothing to see here, it all looks top form. This is exactly like an interactive electronic video game. Also, this cutscene cacks, it goes on forever and it really has no right to. Do you want me to paraphrase exactly what happens in this entire cutscene? Wow, isn't everything great? Hello, my G's. Oh no, it's Ripto, what are you doing here? That's a good question. Yeah, it is a good question. What are we doing here? What do you mean, what are we doing here? If you ask me one more question, I'm going to skin you. Now, where was I? Oh yes, that's a good question. I'm here because Yeah, that is more or less exactly how this cutscene plays out. It's just a massive, one-sided conversation with Ripto and absolutely nobody else, while they all just stand there and let him steal all of these baby dragonflies. You all deserve to lose everything you care about and watch all that you love turn to dust. After that, we all get an uncomfortable look into Bianca's flesh mouth, and then off we go to save the dragonflies. Or else the other dragons won't be able to use them as human shields. And they have all sorts of cute names, like Bonky.
Hey, it's Fluffy.
That's weird, because dragonflies aren't fluffy.
Hey, it's Sandra.
It's Sam.
Oh my spoiled custard. Is this how the game runs? Is the whole game going to run like this? Well, then someone had better catch it then. Come on, Simon, exit my dartboard. Why are you like this? Are you dying? Oh no, there's an ice gate that can only be opened by ice breath. Yeah, alright. So here's the thing, collecting the dragonflies is the main mission in this game, but it is much easier to do than you think, because, yeah, the game is broken. Nah, it's not just broken, it's been shattered into 1,000 pieces. Infamously, you can even finish the entire game in less than 10 minutes by swimming through a hole in a net, flying over to the center of the hub world, and then pissing straight into the final boss portal.
I like winning!
But this time, no such excuses. I played it legit, from start to end. So now I can confidently say, without a doubt, the game is still shat. And I'm not the only one that thinks that, right, Lady Emily?
Spyro, I mean, I enjoyed Enter the DragonFly as a kid.
Shut up! I mean, ostensibly, the game is the same as Spyro 1, 2, and 3, but instead of refining or going forward, it takes things away. Simon 1 had 6 hub worlds, Simon 2 had 3, Simon 3 had 4, and this game has 1 hub world. And not only that, it also has 8 levels. 8 levels in total. Simon 3 had 21 Simons and Dartboard only has 8. Sure, they are much bigger than previously, and they do things like putting speedway courses inside those levels to beef up a single level instead of split them up. But it also means that there isn't as much visual variety, way too many flat and gaping chasms of spaces where a level should be, barely any gliding challenges aside from like 3 levels, and despite you having new power-ups to unlock in the forms of different elemental breaths, which is an idea I do love, there is only one single instance of returning to an older level to find something new with an unlocked breath, and all it involves you doing is grabbing kites by standing on children's heads. This also means the music is pretty limited in comparison to the PS1 games too, and I'm not sure why, but despite it being the same composer, it sounds like it's falling asleep most of the time. I don't think the music's bad necessarily, it's just too atmospheric and rich for its own good, especially for a game that looks like this. Can't deny though, Cloud9 is a tune. Not to mention, the game is insultingly easy. I breezed through most of it without even thinking about it. Check out this mission from the halfway point of the game.
great. Hey, it's Takahiro.
And of course, I'm sure you've all noticed by now, the lag. Now, I can handle a bit of lag, that's not a problem, but what I can't handle is when the lag starts making things run in slow motion.
Because when things start running in slow motion, I can't even tell anymore if I'm dumping or giving birth.
No, don't worry. Your video is not buffering or dropping frames, and you don't have cataracts. This is how the game looks. All the time. It never stops. I almost want to get a cheerleading squad in there to encourage it to run properly, and on many occasions it gets so close, but just can't quite get there. Come on, Simon! You can do it! You can do it! You can do— Oh. And in some of the speedway missions and tank battles, it goes beyond PowerPoint presentation slides. It's like looking at a newspaper. It's a necessary evil though, team, because we need to include the fog. And grass physics. If there was ever a game I wanted to dive under the hood of and see what the hell is going on with it, it would be Enter the Dragonfly. And even if the game didn't run like a crusty pair of jeans, the whole thing still feels like it's underwater. Movement is so slow and extremely floaty. The gems take 3 years to hit the ground after you break them out of baskets, and oh man, oh geez, are you a go. I don't mind the general graphics and the level aesthetics. Sometimes it can be quite nice, but what is it with these mouth animations? Is your face trying to run away from itself? You can't just take the low poly PS1 Toasty Maker mouths and then smooth them out for the PS2. It was charming back in 1999, but in 2002, it all looks like a pair of old socks. And on top of all of that, as you could quite clearly see earlier, the game isn't finished.
Spyro!
And I'm not talking about the gameplay removals either. Technically, it's a disaster as well. Have you ever played a game where there's a loading screen to load a loading screen? Spyro has no drop shadow, making gliding a total pain in the sphinx. Enemies don't attack you. Spyro gives up walking and just floats everywhere. The progression atlas disappears and turns black. Spyro gets stuck in ladders. Charging decides to stop working entirely. Sound effects disappear at random. The wing deflect move you unlock, aside from only being needed for one single part of the game, doesn't even make its target when you do need it. Spyro loves to do these random falling animations after charge jumps and completely stop you in your tracks mid-air. The camera controls often stop working entirely whenever you move. The camera forgets that it's supposed to be looking at you all the time. Sparks just refuses to eat butterflies when he desperately needs them for extra hit points. The Spitfire machine gun needs to be tapped over and over again to fire instead of just held down. Your flame breath sometimes doesn't attack at all. The characters are always turning into statues, especially during dialogue. Uh-oh, he stopped. Can someone put a pound in him? Then there's my favorite one. Whenever you're in the tank, you're able to twist the turret with the shoulder buttons whenever you're stationary. But then when you start moving, you're allowed to twist the turret left, but then twisting it right stops working, only when you're moving. This game is incredible. And taking the coding issues out of the way and the gameplay being stripped back from the PS1 days, the game's also unfinished in other weird ways, like with good old Rage Against the Machine Bag, who only appears one single time in the entire game on level 1 and never comes back, which is probably for the best because I don't like your cultural appropriation. And there's this bit where you talk to a monkey, finish a sliding mission, get a dragonfly, and then the game makers forgot to make the monkey offer you an extra dragonfly for doing the mission again on hard mode, so Sparks just turns around to you and says, "Oh, wait a second, there's another dragonfly mission here, but the monkey forgot to tell you about it, so do you want to do the slide again?" Oh, and speaking of Sparks, most of the time he has the same voice in Spyro 3 that I love dearly. Except for one single instance when Spyro insults him and he outright just says the word "Hi!" You can look up reviews of this game when it first came out on the internet, but honestly, I don't think it's possible to review this game. They're all just encyclopedias of everything wrong with it.
Hey, it's Shadow!
So when all is said and done and you can't stomach it any longer, you end up at the final boss, Ripto. Oh no, wait, I meant the only boss, Ripto. What is this game's daddy issues? And the boss itself is, well, it's on brand, I'll give it that. Also worth mentioning that if you start this fight off, you have bricked your save file and can never leave the fight until you beat the game. So if you're going for 100%, do not go into the boss portal, you'll never come back. The fight itself is pretty but the best thing about it is that after you beat him, you get this cutscene. yes. Enter the Dragonfly genuinely feels like a load of people got together in a meeting, one person came in and said, "Hey guys, I've got 8 new Spyro level ideas," and the rest of the team said, "Thank you." That is all. It is sadly the first of quite a few Spyro games that doesn't make me go. In fact, the game is so bad, I don't even think any children's TV presenters on CBBC would take a paycheck to advertise it to kids. So that's why you don't present CBBC anymore. The only major drops of praise I can give this game are that it gives you the ability to warp to any level right from the pause menu once you've already visited it. The sliding missions are admittedly a lot more fun than Spyro 3, and above all, at least it isn't racist.
Tiki tiki unga boom! Diggy diggy lolo.
Oh. Okay. By the way, guys, you can keep your trouble with the trolley, eh? Shit. The one phrase I had to hear at least 6 goddamn times over was,
Defend the Puffy Palace?
this dog fight is dog bad. The enemy planes can drain your health in seconds, they're too hard to hit, there's no aiming reticle, and the battleships take at least 1,000 missiles to take down. And after every 30 seconds of each failed attempt, I got thrown back to the goddamn Defend the Puffy Palace? The only way I could win this mission is by giving the battleships a good old ram over and over again while spamming the ever-loving hell out of the missile button, because that's fun, isn't it? Actually, yes it is, especially if it means avoiding. The most annoying thing about Exit My Dartboard, though, is that the base is definitely there. I can see a started game. I can see a natural extension from PS1 Spyro to PS2 Spyro. It's extremely close to being a competent, simple, yet effective bit of comfort food, like a peanut butter sandwich, except it's a peanut butter sandwich that has the bread, but replace the peanut butter with more bread. That's what this is. Spyro 4 is a bread sandwich. Oh, and who in Satan's pantry signed off on this credits image? I mean, I like it, it's funny. Wait a second, is your name Two-Eyed Willy?
Thing is though, I didn't just decide to play every level and beat the game. I decided to beat it all. I completed this game 100%. I got everything. I did everything just for the chance of having an extra cool hidden bonus ending thing, just like in all the other 3 Spyro games. And what did I get here? I got a secret ending cutscene. And what was it?
Well, everything is finally back to normal. Isn't it, Spyro?
Spyro Enter the Dragonfly makes me want to piss the bed.